so let me stay this way. Jesus, there's freedom in your name.
All right, welcome to the Warrior's Way. Our warrior this week is Andy Howard. Say good morning.
Good morning.
Before we get to him, if this is your first time, please go to spiritualwarfareunit.com. If you've been struggling, you need help with food, clothes, baby formula, mental health, whatever you need, please go onto there, spiritualwarfareunit.com. Hit struggling, check out the things that we have on there. Click on those people to help us at spiritualwarfareunit.com. Help us, help them, help you. All right, how are we doing this morning, bud?
Great.
So you are from Ohio. You're our first guest outside of state. And your name's Andy Howard, and you have a business called Street Art Tees. Give us just a real quick overview. And if you guys want to check out what he's about to talk about, it's at streetarttees.us, so you can check that out while he's talking. All right, go ahead. What is that?
Well, it's a business. It's not a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my main taglines is that it is not a company with a mission. It is a mission with a company.
Okay.
And I've started the mission first. I don't actually have anything to sell yet.
Mm-hmm.
But the mission is what drives me, what motivates me, and what's going to drive this company.
All right. And today's story is about this. And what happened is me and my wife were on vacation hanging out with some family, and you had just happened to show up and rescheduled, and you happened to be the guy that was talking. And I was laughing at my wife. I said, this is why we come, because you got a really great story, right? So let's get into it. Where'd you grow up?
Well, I grew up on the east side of Toledo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the youngest of seven. East Side Pride. I love Toledo. Yeah, I have 6 siblings, 5 brothers and 1 sister. And
that poor girl.
Yeah. yeah. Well, she was protected, though.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
She did have that.
All
right. It was a great life. I grew up Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not Catholic any longer.
Mm-hmm. What'd your parents do?
My dad was a boiler operator at the Toledo Edison for, 40 years maybe, and my mother stayed home and raised us children.
Wow, that's cool.
They made it work. They were remarkable that way. That's for sure.
How long were they married?
Oh my gosh, 50 years maybe.
Wow,
a long time.
Half a century.
Over that, yeah, a long time.
Okay, so you growing up, were you a nerd? Were you a jock? Were you smart? I mean, what was your kind of, did you fit in that strata?
Well, I was a bit of a loner.
Mm-hmm.
My family had a little bit of a reputation, so as being a little tougher, a little rougher around the edges, maybe.
Well, 6 boys.
Yeah. So
that's all you guys did, right?
Yes, and my father was a heavy drinker, and life at home wasn't an easy
So you almost can't blame him with 6 boys and a girl, right?
Right. So
you're the youngest, so you got to see the protrusion of all that.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
So you were pretty tough?
I guess. Medium tough.
Yeah. Did you do sports at all?
I did. I played virtually every sport through the years.
Yeah. Any acceleration in any of those sports?
No, I was average, maybe slightly above on everything. I loved wrestling. Wrestling was probably my favorite sport. I enjoyed that a lot in high school.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, were you like outgoing with the girls, or are you too shy for that kind of stuff?
No, medium. Probably
medium.
Average. Yeah.
So basically, what you're telling me, growing up, you were just whatever the average button was, you hit it. Like 0 to 100, you were at 50.
Kind of.
Okay,
for a little
fair.
while, I just kind of coasted through.
That's cool. You just kind of got in where you fit in.
I just wanted out of high school. Once I was out of high school, then the world opened up.
All right, so you graduate. What year did you graduate high school?
85.
85. All right, so you graduate in 85. And then what happens? Directly into college or what?
No, I wasn't a college kid. I didn't really enjoy college very much. I started at a printing company, just sweeping floors and dumping garbage, cleaning grease. I worked my way up.
And tell everybody what you made an hour.
$4.25.
$4.25. Yeah, that sounds crazy now, right?
Yes.
All right, so for $4.25, you're sweeping floors, cleaning toilets, picking up trash, just doing the dirty work.
Right, correct.
All right, and your reason for doing that were you staying at home still?
No, my parents actually moved out Shortly before I graduated high school, they bought a place in Michigan and Florida and told me I could stay in the house if I paid all the utilities.
Wow.
And I moved out of there, though, because they let my brother move in, and that just didn't work out so well.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Now, which one of them was he?
The next in line. There was 5 years between me and my next sibling. So they had 6. 5 years later, they had me. My mom swore those were tears of joy, though. So I hold that to this day.
There you go. The one sibling that I was happy to have.
Right.
That's beautiful.
She said I'm the only one she actually wanted. So
Right. All right. So you go to high school, you work. How long were you working before you told your brother, I got to get out of here, you're driving me?
Probably a year.
Okay.
So about 19, I moved out.
So where'd you go?
I went to an apartment on the east side, and a rough little area, but it was extremely inexpensive.
Yeah, those two go hand in hand.
It did.
All right.
$150 a month is all I paid in rent.
Wow.
Yeah, from some folks living up above them there, and I just parked it in the alley in the back. It was kind of secluded, so I tucked out of the way there. And
all right, so you just doing your thing.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
so you get in your apartment. What happens then?
Well, I slowly worked my way up in the company. I became an operator, press operator, got into customer service, got into purchasing, estimating, got into sales. I excelled, and I ended up buying part of that company.
Wow.
One of the divisions.
Hold on, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Like, how long did that process take?
I've been there 39 years.
No, how long did it take to go from
that all the way up
to where you're saying I'm like how long was it between being the floor cleaner and the operator? How long was that process?
Well, that took about 2 years.
All right, so after 2 years, you become an operator, and I'm assuming the bump in pay was substantial.
Right.
Okay. So you're 21.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are you dating at this time?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. And then how long from operator to what was the next one?
I went inside to the customer service position.
All right. So how long was that?
Another couple of years.
So you're 23. Married, still single?
Yes.
Which one?
Single.
Okay. So 23, single.
Yeah.
And then how long from that position to the next one?
I worked in there, and I did numerous positions within those offices.
Sure.
Went to
like you're just learning the business.
I learned many different things. And I did that for probably another 3 years.
All right, so this puts you at 26.
Mm-hmm.
Still single?
Yes.
Okay, so 26. And then when from 26 to buying the company?
Well,
part of it.
After at 26, probably 27, I got a sales job at the company, and I excelled at sales. I did very, very
Found
well.
your niche.
Yes.
Gotcha.
That was where I fit. And that was my goal, was to get into sales, quite frankly, because I just assumed I could do it.
Well, a lot of people assume.
Yeah.
Like, what made you think that's my thing?
Well, because when I was in customer service, the salesman that I was taking care of had virtually no knowledge of printing.
Wow.
And their skill sets were so, I knew I could do so much better. I just knew I could
from a knowledge-based standpoint.
From a knowledge base and dealing with people, even the way they dealt with customer service and with customers, I just knew
Okay.
I could do well.
That's cool.
I love helping people.
Right. Yeah, me too, right?
Yeah.
All right, so you're doing that, you get in that job, and you're doing that, and how long were you doing that before you're like, hey, I'm going to buy a part of this company and be an owner?
Well, I was in sales probably 6 years or so, 6-7 years.
So like 27 to 33.
Yeah, low 30s.
32, 33.
Yeah.
And you did so well at sales. I want to get this exactly right. You did this so well, from sweeping floors. See, this is the American dream that everybody used to have. They get in somewhere, they work their way up, and they get a career. You
can still do it.
You still can do it. That's true. But most people I want my $15 nights. So you did that. So you're 32, 33, and you're doing sales, and you're getting along with the owner so well. They're like, Did they come to you or did you go to them? Like,
No, I went to them. I started approaching the owner and got to know the owner. I've got some perks for doing so well in sales, and he let me go use his condo in Florida and take then when I was married at that point.
All right. Hold on. When did that happen?
Oh, gosh, 29, I think. I got married.
So you were
30.
in the salesman part of it.
Yes.
Okay,
I was
so you got
in sales.
married.
Just year or two into it. It was really
Any kids
pushing
during that time?
No kids yet.
Okay. So you're married, and you approached him and said, what do you think about this? What was his response to that? At first, I got to imagine be like, nah.
Well, there were some, there were some other owners that owned small portions. And he said, well, why don't you go negotiate with them and see what you can do?
Wow.
So I went and negotiated with a couple of the other owners. There was one was a son-in-law, and they agreed to sell to me. And
so, really are good with people.
Yeah, so I came up with a price, bought it, and then the owner, right before that, actually, he sold the two manufacturing facilities. This was a $60 million company.
And he sold it right before you became an owner?
Yes. He sold, only portions. He sold two divisions, and he kept one division. Mm-hmm. That division is the one I ended up being part owner with.
Okay.
And he stayed on as he sold those two because he was ready to retire. And
right.
I inevitably was hoping to buy the entire company. I had two other partners at that time that were older. So it was me and three partners that were all in their, I was in my 30s and they were in their 50s.
Okay.
So it was
inevitable.
It made sense.
Yeah.
Made sense. And at that point, I was accounting for 75% of the sales of the company.
Wow.
So I had very much, like I said, I just did real well.
All right. So let's get back to your little $150 a unit place. When did you move out of that? When did that happen? When you became an operator? Did you move up a little bit?
I just stayed there. I had no reason.
You were comfortable living in the hood.
I was fine. I was fine. I was totally fine. I loved that place. I had it full of fish tanks. When I was a kid, I used to breed fish and sell the babies to wholesalers in Chicago, Detroit, and Cleveland.
So how long were you there?
No, I just did that from my home.
No. How long were you?
At that place, I was there for 8 years, 8 or 9 years.
So from 19 to 28. Right before you started dating.
When I got married, I got married and moved out.
Leave it to your wife going.
We moved in together.
None of this stuff's going, right?
You're right.
Man, that's perfect. That is a perfect time to go to our first break. On the break, please check out streetarttees.us, or you can check out his Facebook, Street Art Tees Mission on Facebook. Like, share, and subscribe. We'll be right back. About our life application program that we have for churches and nonprofits in the area that are trying to find programming that they can use in case the corona shuts you down and you're not able to get in. You go to spiritualwarfareunit.com. You click on our episodes and you can check out our programs for as little as $29.99 a month to make sure that we're still getting the word out to those people that need it. Now, back to the program. All right, welcome back to the Warrior's Way. Our warrior this week is Andy Howard, and he's from Street Art Tees. I hope you got a chance to check out streetarttees.us. He's got some cool stuff going on there. So you just got married. Now, how much of your stuff did you have to lose when you left living for yourself? Like, as a normal guy, it's like 90% and you get a corner. Right?
Well, yeah, I got all my clothes.
All the crap's gotta go. No, like the furniture.
It's easier to tell you what I kept.
Yeah, the list is shorter.
It's much quicker.
All right, so you're 29. You're married. Where'd you move to?
The south end of Toledo.
All right, so give people like a mental picture of what that looks like.
2-bedroom house, small house, little middle class neighborhood, decent little area, kind of a mix. On the fringe, I guess, of where you would say a not as good area town might be.
But better than where you were.
Oh yeah, 1,000 times
like,
better
oh,
than
yeah.
where it was.
That's so funny.
Yeah, yeah.
And the fact that you're comfortable there just makes me like you, because I grew up in very similar circumstances.
Yeah,
I still live in the same.
Well, I ended up being friends with the neighbors. The one gentleman had a hearse that he bought, and he had it painted, and he had a bear that was killing a deer with blood spurting on this big hearse. It was a very unique place.
Yeah, yeah, the eccentric personalities. Right?
Oh yeah, many of them.
All right. So how any children?
I ended up having 3 children, a pair of twins, and then my youngest child was born on my twins' birthday. So I have 3 children with the same birth.
Wow. Okay, back up. Okay, so all right. So you're when did the twins come? How old are you?
They're 25, so I'm 55.
So 30.
Yeah,
So you're married and then had twins.
twins.
So life
Boy
is
and a
changed.
girl. Immensely.
Yeah.
We stopped. We went to the video store when we were bringing the children home from
Yeah.
the hospital. They were premature, and I had 5 videos for 5 days for $5. And we're like, oh, perfect.
Yeah.
We'll watch some movies when the kids go napping.
Yeah.
And I set that bag on the table.
Never touched it.
Nah. No. Many days past the return date as well.
Yeah, and here's a $42 for not getting it back on time.
I literally fell asleep in front of a customer on a call at one time. I was with someone, and
Yeah, twins. I had twins, so
Did you? Good.
Yeah, girls.
No. Yeah.
So, love them.
It was worth. The beginning was a lot of work, but
Yeah,
then
but the
it was-
payoff is great.
Yeah, then it was fantastic. The
Yeah.
first 3 months was tough, but after
Yeah,
that was,
you adjust to their schedule. They
Yeah.
don't adjust to you.
yes.
All right, so you're 30, you have twins, you're doing sales at this point, and life is copacetic, right? And back then, you seemed like a pretty congenial person. Did you do like nonprofit work or help a church or do anything like that then? Or you just living
no,
life?
I was just living life.
All right, so you're at
going
30.
to church, kind of Sunday Christian.
Yeah, of course.
That's it.
Because that's the day that you got to rest, and then the rest of the day is family and life and job and kids and
Pretty much.
and life. All right. So then you have the twins, and then the next one comes how many years later?
3.
3 years. So this is after you made the position to buy the business.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you make the position. You're a partner.
Well, it was a little bit before that. All of that was
Right in the same time
process.
period, like
Yes,
32,
kinda all
33,
happening at the
34.
same time. Yeah.
All right. So as a young man, well, you got to understand your story is unique. Like most people don't work that up as a young man. That's the oddity. Normally they did something crazy, and I'm like, oh, I got to get it figured out. You did it the exact opposite way, right?
Yeah.
And that's what makes it unique. So you, excuse me. So you get in the business, and you're having your kids. You got your wife. You got your house. Now you said it was a 2-bedroom house. So now you got 3 kids
Right.
and a 2-bedroom house. So how did that work?
Well, we only lived there for about, maybe 3 years, 4 years. And like I said, I was extremely successful. So then we bought a very large house in the suburbs.
All right. What year was
out
that?
in the country.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Let's see.
How old were you? I guess is the best
Probably
way.
35.
Okay, so it's after you made your business decision and you're moving out, and the wife's like, "Hey, we need a bigger house and we can afford it." And blah, 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 right? Okay, that makes sense.
Right.
You're 35. You're doing the business, and then what happens?
I was focused on business. I like I said, I did very well. I bought a lake house. I owned properties. I did unbelievably well, and at the time, material possessions seemed important.
Right.
I know now that it's meaningless, but at
Right.
the time I was in that. I was
Right.
living that. I was young. I was. That's what I was doing.
American dream, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I was enjoying what I was.
The fruits of your labor.
I was right.
So what got you from that to where we're at? What was the sticking point?
Well, I was saved, I guess you say. It seems funny saying that because when people say they were like saved, I
Yeah,
think
you're like
that's-
from what? Like
yeah,
a current?
Yeah, it's like what does that mean? It's ridiculous. It just
So it
sounds
was a church
ridiculous.
thing.
Yeah, I mean.
So
it
what year was that?
It
How
was
old were
a
you?
one night. The day was 4/4/04.
Really?
I know. I went in the basement. I did a lot of drugs when I was younger. Lots of
All
different.
right, hold on.
drugs.
You can't just push us into this. Okay. Were the drugs a side thing?
Yeah, it
Like
was a-
that kept you motivated doing the business?
It was a combination of everything.
All right, what was your pull of choice? If you had to pick.
Well, marijuana, really, but I did everything for a while. I don't want to miss.
No, it's all good.
A number of different things.
Yeah. So you did what you did to enjoy and to help motivate the work process.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
All right. So in 04, so that makes you how old? Early 40s?
I'm 55, so I don't even know.
No, that made you early 40s, maybe late 30s, early 40s in 04.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll say late 30s because it sounds cooler.
Yeah. Sounds good. Sounds
All right. So what made you look at religious stuff?
Well, I always felt religious, but I was at church. All I did was really go to church on Sundays. I was at church, and there was a guy preaching up there, and he talked about when he went into his basement one time, and he, got saved on that given day. And I thought he was nuts. I'll tell you the truth. I thought the guy was crazy.
Yeah.
And so one night I was at home. I sent a guy out to buy pot, and he, was smoking pot. My wife comes home. I was lying to her, little arguments, and I just got sick of it. And I said, okay. I picked up my Bible. I went down in my basement. I said, okay, God, if you're real, if you really can do that, then I'll open this book and I'll read it. But I'm not going to read it again. So you got one chance.
God, you got one chance.
I did. That's what I said. I was like, that's it. I'm giving this one chance. And I'm telling you right now, if you don't do something, I'm probably going to shut it and never read it again.
Right.
And I picked it up and I started reading. I got to where the high priests were being condemned for their hypocrisies. And I don't cry. I'm a pretty, like I said,
normal, even, guilty person.
I'm not a emotional, but I was overcome uncontrollably.
Wow.
And so I was like, okay, that's kind of strange. Got myself together, started reading. It happened again and again. I kept getting in control, and it kept happening. And to the point I was looking around for something, thinking I would see. I didn't see anything. It was just a feeling, and that's all it was. But it was unbelievably powerful, a feeling that I'd never felt before. It's not something I can really describe. It's just something that I knew, okay, you're real. I got it.
Right. So now what?
Well, I read the Bible.
Like the whole Bible?
The whole Bible. I read it like a novel, and I paid attention to it, and I got the message. And the message was non-judgmental love to people.
Right.
And that's it. I shut the Bible, and to be honest with you, I really haven't read it again. I don't read it every day. I'm not a Bible preacher. I don't know verses. It's just not who I am. I just try to live it.
Yeah, you try to be the action of what you learned.
Right.
Gotcha.
So then the enemy immediately attacked my marriage, and I went through an atrocious divorce. An atrocious divorce. So in order to make more money, like I said, there's two things I've known in life. I know printing and I know fish. I've always had fish. I've bred them, raised them, all kinds, hundreds of different types of fish.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I need to make some more money because this divorce is financially crippling me.
Right.
A whole lot of things had changed with the company and a lot of things. I just wasn't doing as well. Still incredibly well for what most people would think, but for where I was, it wasn't good. So I got a job at the Bass Pro Shop maintaining their, let me back up a minute. I had a relationship with Jay Hendel from the Toledo Zoo. He was the curator of the fish house there.
How'd you meet him?
Well, I just called him and I donated fish to the zoo, but I would donate so many that it got to the point over the years he would have people come and actually collect them from my house. I would say, hey, Jay, if I buy this fish and I raise it, it's too big for me to keep. But
so you started the relationship by helping somebody for nothing because you like to fish.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the Bass Pro Shop called him and said, we're looking for a company to maintain our aquarium here.
There you go.
And so he told them, we'll call this guy.
Right.
Which was me. So I bid on that. I didn't get it. A company out of Chicago got it, a great company. And then when they got it, they asked the people at Bass Pro, do you know anybody that we could call that could manage this for us? And so they called me. So I maintained that for a number of years, and I took scuba dove in it. These are large aquarium.
At the zoo?
No, at the Bass Pro Shop.
Oh, at the Bass Pro Shop.
In Perrysburg,
Man, so you got to go swim in with those fish.
Correct.
Man, that's got to be cool, right?
It was fantastic.
It's like a peace of mind thing, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool. Okay.
So through that process, the Cabela's Aquarium in Dundee, Michigan, they were having problems with their tanks. They have 8 times the amount of capacity, or 8 times the amount of water capacity as Bass Pro.
Like how many gallons are we talking here?
Oh boy, was it?
Thousands?
Yeah, the one tank's 23,000. The other 2 are 10,000 apiece.
So what was wrong with the tanks? Like,
They just were being maintained very, very poorly. There was
okay.
a lot of bacterial diseases. They were in atrocious condition.
Gotcha.
So
you go to Cabela's.
So I worked with Cabela's, and inevitably, through the company I was working for at Bass Pro, we sold the Cabela's account. And then Bass Pro said, well, we don't want you to take the Cabela's because we consider it a conflict of interest. So I told the owners, I said, well, I'm going to start a company and take care of Cabela's myself then. And I did. I did that. And I started a nonprofit called Fishgate. The company. Fishgate.
Nice.
Out of the Book of Nehemiah. And the mission of that company at the time is to hire convicted felons. And
So like, are we talking like murderers, rape?
whoever.
Whoever? Okay,
Yeah.
so it wasn't a condition of
Wasn't
of
conditional.
parole.
It
Okay.
was just
And so what was their jobs?
trying to help them.
Yeah.
Well, I
And why them? Like, why them out of all the people?
because that's a good question. Because I was on a search to try to find the people at the level that need help more than any other section of society.
Okay.
I was drawn to that. God was calling me to that somehow.
Okay.
And that's where I thought it fit. And so I hired them. I built a fish farm raising tilapia. I built it out of plywood. I made my own filters. I built 6,000-gallon aquariums.
Wow.
And started breeding tilapia as well as running the Cabela's in Dundee. And then we got another Cabela's in Grand Rapids, Michigan that I was maintaining. So that company was going very well.
All right. Well, before you take another step, we got to go to our next break. If you guys have not gone and checked out Street Art Tees US, please come and do that. Like, share, and subscribe. Spiritual Warfare Unit. We'll be right back.
I'm really impressed with the teachings that Isaac has been bringing to us, as this is all based from Proverbs.
I like it because it's simple, and it doesn't matter who you are. It's very easy to understand and apply to your life.
You know, it points out, you know, my bad parts, and, you know, but it's showing me how to do the good parts. And, you know, I'm trying to apply that and, you know, make a better life for myself because I'm tired of where I've been.
It's impacted a lot of the guys as they continue to talk and ask questions after the meetings, as they speak to one another regarding the meeting and the messages and the topics that are being brought up, which are down-to-earth topics of situations and things that we live with on a day-to-day basis.
He takes the Bible and he breaks it down into simple terms and where you can understand. And like I said before, sometimes a lot of churches, even the Salvation Army, sometimes we start using these big words that people don't understand, like even saying someone got saved. Well, what does that mean? What does it mean when you say someone got saved? And it's accepting Jesus into your heart. So it's like words like that we use that people don't understand.
It's just very interesting how he points out, you know, the different things of, you know, the sin part, and then he comes back with the, you know, how to make it better, and he just points it out. It's there. You know, I didn't know all this stuff was in there, but now that he's pointing it out, it's like, wow, you know, I guess if you really dig into the Bible, you find these things.
This is a daily moral standards that we can live by, that the teachings are coming from. And honestly, we can take verse by verse as what he's done, and pretty much he's done the hard work for us and now laying it out so that we have an easier understanding.
There's some people who don't like to be in Bible classes, but this one seems to get their attention.
All right, welcome back to the Warriors Way. We are at UCAN Studios, and I'm here with Andy Howard from Street Art Tees and his website, streetarttees.us. Go check that out. So we were just getting into your new business, Fishgate, and it was a huge aquarium business that you were adding on,
Right.
and you were helping felons, which that is really commendable. As we were talking off the gate, it's like 6% or 8% success rate of helping people who've gone
Yeah.
through the system. So, and you found that to be successful working with the fish.
Yeah, I mean, it worked with some.
Yeah,
And,
sure.
To this day, I have a friend who's very close, who I met through that process.
All right, so we are doing the fish gate. It's your early 40s at this point?
Yeah.
All right, so went through the divorce, went through life change, went through business change, and you decided to give God a shot. You gave him a shot. He gives you direction, and you use that to help people that come out of jail. You do this business. You said you start picking up extra business. That's where we're kind of ended off. All right, what happened next?
I was still running the printing business through all this.
Okay.
So I had all that. This was kind of my mission business. Well, then Bass Pro bought Cabela's. And the gentleman who decided who was going to maintain the Cabela's was the same guy who was upset with me for leaving Bass Pro.
Uh-oh.
And so I ended up losing the Cabela's.
Well, sure.
Because and the company that got it, they're called Aquamoon. They're a great company. The two owners were at the Shed Aquariums in Chicago, and they're the company I worked for at Bass Pro, and I have nothing but good things to say about both of them. They're good men. It's a good company. So it wasn't like it was a bad choice. It was a great choice. They were. It
Made sense.
It made sense.
Yeah.
It did make sense. They were already maintaining 9 other Cabela's. So
Right, and they did what he said he wanted them to do, and you were the guy that didn't, so.
And the two locations are 30 miles apart at that point. You're going to hire the same company to do
course.
both. So it just kind of made sense. There's not a lot I could do about that.
Right.
But it was subsidizing the fish farm, so I also ended up shutting down the fish farm. So
Sure.
that missionary business stopped.
Right. So what's the new direction? What happened?
So, before that company started, I got remarried. I was up paying a traffic ticket. I saw a guy that had a shirt on that said Foot Soldiers Toledo. I said, "What is that?" And he said, "Well, it's a thing we do at church. We're an inner city church, and we walk out into the inner city, and we offer to help people and just we don't preach necessarily, but we tell them we're there and we offer services and we try to take care of the neighborhood." I said, "Well, I want to do that," because I was on a search for the
Next mission,
for the next mission. So I got involved in that church. That was 10 years ago, to be exact. I was 45 when that happened, and that's when Fishgate started at the same time. And that all kind of happened at the same time.
Gotcha.
As I grew at that church, I ended up running a food pantry there. And I ran it for about 4 or 5 years, and a couple years before COVID hit. And then it just exploded when COVID hit.
Right.
Just exploded. But through that process,
Well, hold on. You can't just say exploded. Like, it started with how many people?
Well, we were serving an average of, I think, probably 50 people a week. 50 families pre-COVID a week.
And then what it bounced to after?
250.
5 times the amount.
5 times.
Dude, where'd you guys get the food?
From the food banks. It took a fair amount of coordination and a lot of volunteers, and it was extremely busy. But I did that all through COVID.
Gotcha. We did the same thing up here.
Yeah.
Food bank, distribution, same day.
Yeah, there was an incredible.
Yeah, there was no days off back then.
No.
Woo!
No, it was busy.
Yeah.
It was busy, but as I was running that food bank over those years, I was introduced to a number of people that were homeless. And my wife was the director of SPMI, which is severe and persistent mental illness at Unison.
Okay.
And she knew of a program that the state of Ohio had piloted there called Housing First. And it was to help homeless folks to get housing. And the thought behind Housing First was, if you help them with Housing First, it will put them over the hump to then help with the addictions, with the mental illness.
Yeah, because then they have something to
all
lose.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct. And that
Makes
does
sense.
work for some people,
Yeah, that
but not
makes
all
sense.
people, because
Right.
it's the model it doesn't fit everyone. So through that process, I helped a number of folks. I just asked them if I could help them. Mm-hmm. And they said yes. And I helped them get Social Security cards, birth certificates, photo IDs, doctor's appointments, many things.
So you're doing transportation, picking them up, dropping them off, taking these things, setting up the appointments, doing all that for them.
Help them fill out the forms, using my email, helping them with communications via email, via
And you're just doing this to
electronic.
help them.
Correct.
Just a side thing you needed to do to
Just to fill me.
scratch that purposeful itch, right?
Correct.
All right, so you're doing this, and then when did the brainchild hit you?
Well, I was talking to Mary, who became a very good friend of mine through our process. We have so many stories of so many things we went through. Mm-hmm. But I just asked it at one point a few years ago. I was asking other people, "What do you like to do? What are your hobbies?" She said, "I like to paint and draw." And then in my head, I thought, well, I've been in printing for forever, for decades. Maybe if I bought the supplies for those folks and I had them paint and draw or do whatever they want to do, and then I could print them on T-shirts, sell the T-shirts, and part of the proceeds from that could go to help a mission that helps homeless people.
There you go.
Because
So they're the artists of the shirts. That's the idea.
Yeah.
And then I'll just give a portion of that to help homeless.
to help homeless. Right.
Okay. So how long did it take to implement from thought process to like making it happen? Was it very fast?
Well, COVID hit.
Oh, so this happened in 2020.
Yeah, this
Okay.
happened. The thought occurred prior to COVID hitting.
Oh, okay.
And then COVID
and then the food bank happened. So you're busy doing that. Okay.
Yeah, then COVID hit and the food bank happened, and just
life.
a lot of things happened. So then you could fast forward to basically 6 months ago.
Well, we don't get to fast forward. That's not how this works. We don't get to it because during the process of doing COVID,
Yes.
you're helping 250 families. You're setting up the food bank. You're setting up distributions, volunteers that can come down and do this. How many churches are you working with?
Medical clinic, COVID vaccines. We gave COVID vaccines.
There
at
you
the
go.
Church
Yeah,
through
right.
for the UTNC, the University. of Toledo
Trying to get
Medical
the people stuff they need.
Right.
You just meet needs as they come along, just
Yes.
pancaking it. Just
And that went on for 2 years, basically.
All right, so you stand still for 2 years, and your standstill is just meeting the direct need of the community, as we did here. It was nuts, and it was a church community that came together along with the nonprofit world, and those two things connected and created a net for our community, so we could
Right.
manage through that, right?
Right.
Okay, now we can. So you did that from 2020 till when? When did it finish up?
Well, about 6-7 months ago, maybe, is when I started my Street Art Tees mission.
So we're like March, April of 2022.
Yeah, March.
So funny.
Yeah.
All right. So, because we launched like almost identically,
Ha.
same time. That's why that's funny.
That's-
All right. Yeah, it's hilarious because we were busy doing the exact same thing with
Right.
the people, and then God's got a sense of humor, so
Right.
that's hilarious.
Right.
All right. So in March, you're like, all right. So I'm getting back to this.
Right.
And how did that work? Like,
Well,
tell us the launch, sir.
the Cherry Street Mission in Toledo, Ohio, and I don't know if people are familiar with that, but that's a shelter for men's and women's shelter. It's very large, one of the largest in the nation.
How many people do they have there?
Oh, God, hundreds.
Hundreds.
Many
Wow.
hundreds.
How in the heck do you keep drugs out of that joint?
You don't entirely. It's not easy. They have to. It's difficult.
Yeah.
They work hard.
Yeah.
They work hard, and they do an incredible job.
Yeah.
They do. So,
All right, so you're working for this place because I was going to ask, well, where did you find a bunch of homeless people? But you just answered that question.
Well,
Gotcha.
yeah. So they are housed in an old school in Toledo.
Wow,
So
okay.
they have classrooms.
Nice retrofit, right?
Right.
There you go.
So my wife had a great relationship with them. She does trainings for their employees
Okay.
because there's a lot of mental health issues, obviously, in that
Absolutely,
population
without
group.
question.
So I approached Cherry Street and I asked them if they would be willing to give me a classroom that I would supply all of the materials, canvases, paints, everything that's needed. I would man it and start an art room with the mission of being able to build relationships with people. And then there's a quote from Mother Teresa that I saw every week when I pick up food. It's on the side of the food bank. It says, if you can't feed 100 people, then feed just one. So my thought was, if I can ask middle and upper class America to get involved and become a friend with one homeless person, just one, a volunteer caseworker. Caseworkers have 60, 70, 80, 90 people that they're helping. You can't proactively help people.
Hold on a minute. One caseworker has 60 or 70 people?
That's low.
How do you can't.
You can't.
There's not enough time.
You're reacting. You're reacting to emergencies.
How do they handle it? They're just firemen then.
Right.
Oh my Lord.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
That's nuts. Sorry. That number caught me.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And there's a huge segment of our society that can get out of that environment if they just had a person who would be willing and they could trust just to help them navigate the system. The system is not easy to navigate. It is for people like us.
Sure.
But it's not for a very large population of our
It's like
society.
10%, right?
I don't know it's what the percentage is, but
I was looking it up earlier. It made me sound intelligent.
yeah,
I think it's like 10%, which is massive. That's like 35 million people.
it's a lot.
It's a ton.
It's a lot.
Well-
and obviously you can't help everyone.
Absolutely not. But before you get into this next portion, which is really cool, we got to take another break. If you've not gone to streetarttees.us, please check that out. If this is your first time, please go to Spiritual Warfare Unit on YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe so we can help others. Sit tight. We'll be right back.
Name Jesus.
Now we're getting the Mary thing.
Always set me free.
Hey, it's Aaron with UCAN. We're down here at the Unity Fest the Heart of Flint is putting on, Kersley Park Pavilion over here on the east side. Doing a lot of great things out here with a lot of great people. There's all types of vendors, people giving away food and water and clothing, just a lot of resources for the community. UCAN's out here and we're talking to a lot of people already whose loved ones have been afflicted by the disease of addiction. So we're able to get our information out, hopefully be able to provide resources to those folks in the future.
There's freedom in your name, Jesus. There's freedom in your name. You break every
All right, here we are, Unity Fest 2, and I'm here with the promoter, Jeremy. How are we doing today, buddy?
Good, man. How you doing?
Doing great. We're here at the UCAN tent, handing out for United Community Addiction Network, getting everybody here helped out. It looks like a full house. How many people do you think are here?
A few hundred. We just opened, so I think it's going to get better, though, today, because
All right, and how many people you got playing today?
we have 3 artists. We got Shantae Music, and we have Nick Hill, who's out of Saginaw, and then End of I. I don't know who they are, but...
All right, welcome back to the Spiritual Warfare Unit. We are here at UCAN Studios with Andy Howard, and we're talking about Street Art Tees. His website is streetarttees.us, and we've hit our third session, which is our gem session, where we try to get a gem, a funny story from our guest coming out there. And so we had asked Andy about it before. What do you got?
Okay, well, I'll tell you a story about I have a very close friend of mine named Bud. He's 97 years old.
97.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great guy. World War II vet, Korean vet. We go fishing, and I take him with my brothers. He's equilibrium's off, doesn't see too good, but he can still fish. And one day, just like men always do, we were talking. I said, Bud, at what age do you stop thinking about, having sex all the time? And
Yeah.
when does a man kind of lose that?
Yeah.
He looks up at me and says, well, you're going to have to ask somebody older than me. It's a true story. True story, swear. So, that's encouragement for all the men out there.
That is so perfect of the mindset of men
That is
set up so quickly.
Yeah.
97, he's
Yeah.
like, what are you talking about?
Gosh, you have to ask someone older than me.
Yeah, apparently that doesn't turn off.
Right,
That's
exactly.
so funny.
Right. Yeah.
Perfect for that. Oh, man, got to come up with a good title for that one. So, all right, so we were just getting into you helping and doing mental health class through art, and getting all the stuff together and helping and trying to make one friend
Right.
that's homeless to help them out. And so what happens?
So I set up the art class, and I go there every Saturday from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock, and we started to build relationships with some of the folks that are in a homeless situation. So I started to ask them if we can help. And many of them said yes. So I started to help them with getting the paperwork they needed, get them into a housing voucher program. We have, in the 6 months, I have 10 people that have housing and are looking for housing. One person that has her key in her apartment. We've helped her get furnishings. Another lady is going to have her key Monday for an apartment. We have 5 more that within the next week to 4 weeks are all going to have their own places to stay.
Wow.
We have 8 more people in the pipeline that are in the systems. I'm working with the Homelessness Board, with Unison, who all have these Section 8 voucher programs. I have 4 volunteers and will be pushing much stronger for more soon. We've hooked them up with people individually.
Right.
I've went around town and I've started to categorize the housing complexes that are approved, and I'm making a list per location of town, and I'm coding them yellow, green, and red. Green meaning they're great, nice places. Yellow is the neighborhood's so-so. It doesn't look that good, and then red are slum areas, bad areas.
Like your apartment back in the day.
Exactly. Right. I lived right down the home down the road from one.
I would live there. We got to go.
Right.
Okay.
But some people can only qualify for places like that.
Absolutely.
Because of their record, their history. There's a need for all of that.
Right. So the interesting thing that you told me when we first met was about this lady. Her name was Mary.
Right, Mary. She comes with me every Saturday.
So you met her at this place?
I met her at the food bank way back years ago.
So she came to your... Did she come to your art classes, or did you ask her to come to those?
No, I met Mary when I ran the food bank 5 years ago, before COVID.
Okay.
And she's one of the people that I helped get housing for. And I had some things. When I was with Mary, there was one time I came to pick her up, and I called her on the phone, and she was renting this little room from some lady in the hood, really, a horrible area. And I called her on the phone. She said, "Look, she said I can't move. I can't get up." She said, "A kid knocked me over, and I hurt my hip or something. I can't move." And I was like, "Well," I said, "can I come up and help you down, and I'll take you to the hospital?"
Right.
She's like, "Okay." So I walked up to the door, and I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, what am I going to, bed bugs, cockroaches? This is going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
And I look in the front door, and it is a disaster. The place is exactly what I thought it was. There's some dog barking over to the right. I think it's in a cage, but I can't see it. But I open the door, and the dog is in a cage, and I walk up this narrow hallway, and I go to the right, and I don't know what I'm getting into. I'm thinking, why am I doing this? I shouldn't even be doing this.
Right.
But I walk into the doorway, and I stand there, I look forward, and there's Mary's room, and it's spotless. It's clean, it's beautiful, everything's folded and nice. Behind me is a disaster.
Right.
But she is renting just this little room, and I'm like,
her room is spotless.
Her room is clean, and she's clean. She's never smelled, body odor and things.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, my thought of homelessness is not really correct. There are people that
would prefer to be clean.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even though they're homeless, they're still taking care of their hygiene, and they're taking care of themselves, and they're doing these things, which is not easy. It's got to be difficult.
Yeah.
But she's doing it, and it changed my perspective. That's just one story, and I have others.
So did she draw you a T-shirt? Art class?
Well, one of her pieces of art is we have a Facebook page, and I the mission at the art studio, I have 10 paintings that we've chosen, superimposed onto T-shirts.
All right, hold on. So these are the people that are up for making T-shirts, like their art is up to be on a T-shirt?
Yes.
Okay, and then people can, they can purchase this T-shirt if they want.
I haven't even launched the financial end of the company yet. When I said it's a company when I said it's not a company with a mission, it's a mission with a company. The mission is what I have focused on first, and I am building that platform.
Right. So, but that's what this is going to be.
Yes. So I'm letting the public vote
Yeah.
on which 3 shirts I can print. So I have 10 shirts right now. I have a survey out on Facebook, and I'd love people to go and just vote on it. Just
Well, Andy, you're going to have to put that on Spiritual Warfare Unit Facebook. Let our people vote.
I will.
You know,
I will.
Because you got to see. You kind of want to see what happens. And so the cool idea of this is you got people together, use a class, provided art for decompression, stress release for these people, and then you saw. What I love about this is you saw that and go, I can show you have value.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have value, and I'm going to do this and prove to you have value. And you're going to use homeless people to provide a service to help them by stuff that they're doing. That's what makes that cool, because no matter how they look at it from their perspective, I did that shirt.
Right.
So there's that to it. And
They love it. They love it. The people love it.
Yeah. So how did you pick how did you do it? How did you pick you said there was hundreds. Like, how did you get 10 out of hundreds?
I let them find me.
What does that mean when you say that?
Well, one of Mary's jobs when we started the art room is I went back in the art room, set everything up, and the very first week she walked out into the cafeteria area, which is a big, like a high school cafeteria, and started telling people about the art room.
Okay.
What we're doing, and so people started to come. First we had it's between 6 and 12 people doing art, and I just started talking to them. And slowly started to tell them what our real mission was. It really wasn't to have people paint. I don't know anything about art. Art is not anything I even know.
Okay.
But I know that it's a wonderful thing. I know it's a good medium. I know it's relaxing. I know a lot of great things about it. I'm not an artist myself.
Right.
But I just started to talk to people about what we really are doing. We're helping them. We want to help people to get housing vouchers, to get on their feet, to get introduced to someone. And that's just the beginning. The key to it all is for them to stay housed, to stay off the street.
To sustain themselves.
Sustainability is important. And that's why we need volunteers, because so many of these folks, they don't have anyone to trust. And who knows how many bridges they burned. Yes, their own choices in a lot of cases got them to where they are, but so what?
Yeah. Now
Are we going to judge them for that? The Bible tells me non-judgmental love. And I don't care about what someone's history or background is. It's nice because you got to learn from it.
Right.
But I care about where they are right now.
Yeah. Once presented with a positive, once presented with an opportunity, do you chuck that away?
Exactly.
Or is that what you're looking for the whole time? Absolutely. That's why I love what you're doing, because that's exactly where my heart is at.
Right.
It's like, listen, God presents the mission. I just want to make sure I have this process right. So you go to this, you invited people to do it, and then people just start taking out, and you're looking at it going, wow, that's really good. Like, was there some natural artists out there? Is that what happened?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Some of the art's really nice.
Tell us some of the cool stuff they drew. I mean, there's got to be some awesome things, right? Because
there are.
I still have that bear, deer, hearse thing in my brain from the beginning, right?
Right.
Like, I'm sure somebody came up to you and your mind just went, wow.
Right.
Right. Give us a couple of those.
Yeah. Well, there's the one lady. She does pencil work.
Okay.
And she does birds. And they're just beautiful. Her detail on the birds and stuff are beautiful. She does trees and different.
And this is just some homeless lady that's just completely gifted in this area.
Yeah.
Wow.
And one of her paintings are on the art to choose from.
Is it?
Yeah, one of them. And
we don't want to make favorites or anything.
No,
so don't say what it is.
Right. Yeah. So there's just different people. Some people haven't done work before, and they come and their work ends up being beautiful.
Like if you
never
told
done
me
anything.
Yeah, like if you had me, I would have a mean stick figure.
Yeah, right. That's exactly
where
I'm at.
And I like art. I'm like, gosh, I wish I had that ability, but I mean, I'm blocks and sticks, you know.
Right.
I just do good, you know. That's kind of how my brain goes, and that's what I like about it, because you're actually bringing out a lot of stuff that people try to shun, right? That artistic side, they'll kind of push that back, and you've got to fit in this form. And artistic people do not fit in blocks, man. They are their own entity, and they need that to be, where their brain is and do those things. And you're like, it's whether it's on accident or on purpose, it's like you're providing that medium for them to be able to connect, and then you're communicating with them from how they communicate. That's what makes the pictures really cool.
It
right?
does. And the relationships that are being formed, because people tend to just talk.
Right.
When you're in there. And you talk about each other's lives, and then you tell them about the mission. And then now the word's out, and people come just to talk to me about the mission, and they don't do any art, which is great. Yeah. That's great. But they're searching us out now. What prompted this was you asking me, how do I find them out of all these people? So now it's word of mouth. People are finding me, and it's beginning to really take off. I'm working with so many different organizations and connecting the dots to surround these folks with help. And they need help. There's a population group that we need to take care of as a society. There's a lot of resources that the government has thrown money at.
Right.
It's not that they're not there.
It's not that they're not there. It's no one doing the program, right? It's crazy.
You have college-educated families, middle class, upper class America, that don't take advantage of millions upon millions of dollars to pay for tuition because they don't know where it's at, and then they fill out the form incorrectly and they don't get approved, and that goes to waste year after year. It's the exact same scenario, but it's with housing vouchers and with many different things that are offered. Some people just need help navigating to
Absolutely. And that's what you're for, and that's why we had you on. If you had one thing that someone saw this and you're like, this is the thing I want you to pull out of this, out of this conversation that we're having, what would it be? What is it that you want people to remember about this?
I want them to remember that to have non-judgmental love. We are every human being is exponentially unique and exponentially common. All of us. Our emotionals, our the anger, the fear, the pride, all of those things are the same. We all have those. Those levels of those things. We all can understand and relate to those feelings. And we need to just have, like I said, non-judgmental love for one another.
Well, that is a great mission statement to have, I honestly believe. When we first met, one of the things you said to me is you either got to get it done or not get it done.
Yeah.
Like we had talked, and I said, here's a card, got to get it done. And that's what, it was those words actually, like, I want to help this guy. Because there's people that talk about it, and then there's people that do it. Both are necessary. I find myself drawn to the do it people. Like, how do we get it done? But how we get it done people are necessary, right? And you're a get it done person. Yeah. And so if you've not gone to streetarttees.us, that's the website. Check that out. And then the Street Art Tees mission is his Facebook, where you can go on and people will vote. I haven't put a link up here. I'm also going to have you put a link up here. So if we have people that want to find help, whatever, they can click on that, and we'll make sure we'll put a different state on there so they know that's from a different thing. But we're going to put that out there. And I am so glad that you came up here and saw us today. I love what you're doing. I love how you do it. I love the passion and the fire.
Yeah.
Anything we can do to make that work, we will. Thank you so much for coming to Spiritual Warfare Unit this week. And this is your first time. Please go like, share, and subscribe on our YouTube channel. We need your help. You guys have a great week. We'll see you next time. Do you have a nonprofit in your area that's doing a lot of work that people should know about? Feel free to contact Spiritual Warfare Unit at 810-715-9319, and we would love to have them on to see what good they're doing in the community and find out their story. Thank you so much.
Spent so much time believing the lies. I knew I wasn't meant to live this way. But my walls came down when your love shone through. Now my life will never be the same. You love me too much to let me stay this way. Jesus, there's freedom in your name. You break every chain, oh Lord. 'Cause you are above every name, Jesus. Oh, you set me free. singing songs of praise.